Alright, so today we're looking into plagiarism, which is an important topic for academic writing, especially in the Western countries. Alright.
Understanding and avoiding plagiarism in academic writing. Plagiarism is a major concern for both teachers and students. It can be avoided by understanding what plagiarism is and by learning how to acknowledge sources properly. In the English-speaking academic world, students must use information from a variety of sources, but always give credit. Academic honestly builds trust, credibility, and intellectual integrity.
Right. So I think there's a strong tradition, especially in English-speaking Western world, on academic integrity. Right. So when I was studying in Korea, plagiarism wasn't as much emphasized, but especially like in elite universities, like Oxford, where I studied, they put a lot of emphasis on academic sort of honesty. So whenever you read, if the ideas that you write down in the essays or are slightly related, it's actually safer to cite, the authors or the references of the books or the articles that you have borrowed the ideas from. But it's not that highlighted here in Korea either. But if you were to engage with Western academics or like if you want to study over there, then it's very important that plagiarism is no. It's very much discredited over there. All right.
But plagiarism matters. Ideas and written texts are treated as intellectual property belonging to their creators. Using someone's work without proper credit is considered theft or academic misconduct. Plagiarism damages credibility, fairness in assessment, and teacher-student trust. Avoiding plagiarism shows ethical responsibility and respect for others' work.
Right. Now, I think the reason that plagiarism is so much discredited in the Western academia is that they put a lot of emphasis on intellectual property. So they have this system, where they protect the intellectual property. It's not only used for like technology, but a lot of times, because those inventions and technologies, they are based on ideas. It's abstract ideas, and that sort of gives like prototype, and then the prototype leads to like the real inventions and like really advanced technology. So that's why they think that the original idea, which gives birth to these prototypes and like inventions and advanced technology, is very important, right? So they always try to attach ideas with the authorship. So there's a strong, you guys are very late? Okay, take a seat. And so there's a strong emphasis on the ownership of intellectual property. So they think even the abstract ideas belonging to someone, okay? So, we can't see the ideas, right? It's very abstract, and it's only in the words, and we don't really see them as we see the desks or the computers, but still, even the ideas, they have ownership. That's the basic philosophy. So that's why they put so much emphasis on like how to avoid plagiarism, because they really think that even the ideas belong to someone, All right, what is plagiarism?
Definition: taking ideas, words, or data from a source without acknowledging the original author. It is regarded as a form of academic theft or intellectual crime. Example of plagiarism: copying a paragraph without quotation marks or citation. Good practice: paraphrasing in your own words and using the source properly.
Right. So when we define plagiarism, it's very important to acknowledge that it not only involves like words and data from the books, but even the ideas, right? Because a lot of times people just think that like, okay, the ideas are very abstract, it's abstruse. So they don't really belong to anybody. But according to the intellectual property tradition, even the ideas belong to someone. They originate from somebody, right? So that's why they put so much emphasis on citing or just making sure that who the ideas belong to. So I think it's very important for you guys to make a note. We actually covered how to do the note taking. So every single idea that you actually take notes on, it's very important that you make a reference where the idea, where the paragraph, where the words are coming from. And from the practice of note-taking, you can actually specify and through via the citation and the reference list what your ideas and what you're writing are borrowed from or transferred to. So this practice is very important. I mean, last week and the week before, we actually did the exercise of how to paraphrase and how to make summaries, and they all related, and it's related with how to avoid plagiarism in your writing also. All right, why plagiarism happens?
Students often find plagiarism confusing because they must first show evidence of written by referring to other writers. Second, express ideas in their own words and reach their own conclusions. Causes include lack of understanding of citation, words arrangement, or overlay reliance on online sources.
Right, so one of the characteristics that distinguishes academic writing from like joy writing or like literary writing is that you actually use a lot of citations. You actually have to read a lot before you actually write, So if you were to write an essay, then you have to read at least like 5 more books or articles, and the purpose of reading other books or other articles is to show that you've actually got acquainted yourself with the topic, and you've actually looked into the ideas and arguments of the other authors and writers, and afterwards you can basically use those sources as evidence for your own argument, to build your own argument. So first, you basically use the ideas and the data and then the words of these authors of the readings that you have done for build up your evidence, evidence for your argument. But this is very important. So you can actually use their ideas, words, and data for your evidence, but then your argument and conclusion, they have to come from your own words. All right, so this is important. So to make a conclusion and to make an argument, to take a side on the topic, say you are writing about climate change, you have to take a side in which side you belong to. So if you were to make an argument, if you were to make a conclusion, then you have to write them on your own words. But then you have to persuade the others that my argument is good, my argument is trustworthy, and for that you use other sources to back up your argument with the evidence, right? Okay, and why students must avoid plagiarism?
Plagiarism prevents learning and understanding. It is easily detected by teachers when software like
Turnitin
shows lack of respect for classmates who work independently. Consequences include failing the course or expulsion. Students must take responsibility for academic honesty.
Right. So, first of all, you have to avoid plagiarism, not to fail in the course. I don't know whether I shared the anecdote, but when I was taking philosophy classes in Oxford, one of my first essays, actually, I got so much red marks because I didn't really know how plagiarism actually is prohibited in Western academia. So I actually borrowed a whole paragraph from another philosophy book without citing. And I thought it was okay because nobody told me about it when I was studying in Korea. But then there, even citing a few sentences without citation is considered as a plagiarism. So my professor, just wanted to make sure that I know how grave the plagiarism is. So he just gave me a lot of warnings by making a lot of red marks, a lot of warnings. So the most practical reason is not to fail the course. But again, I told you about the Western tradition. They actually think new ideas as belonging to someone. So they place so much emphasis on the ownership of the of even the abstract ideas, and so they place a lot of importance on academic honesty. So there's a different academic traditions existing in different cultural and environmental sort of settings. But if you want to study and if you want to work with people in the Western academia, it's very important to acknowledge that academic honesty, thus avoiding plagiarism, are highly recommended. All right, and there's a software which is called Turnitin, which specifically detects plagiarism. So let's see what this is.
Turnitin is a plagiarism detection system used by universities worldwide. It compares students' papers with the best database of academic writing and online materials. Turnitin highlights copied or unreferenced sections for review. Students can use it proactively to check their work before submission. Website.
Yeah, I think you can actually access this. Let's try this like when we do the exercise. So for professors, when they're using the software, the LMS, a lot of times, I don't know about the Jeonbukdae, but my husband's university certainly has it. So a lot of times when, as a professor, I check the students' essays, we actually use the software to detect whether students have borrowed any of the ideas or any of the words or like the sentences without citation. So, I mean, there are other softwares that Turnitin for detecting the plagiarism. So, I strongly recommend that before you submit your essay, you actually use the software or any other plagiarism detection software to see if there are any things that you have to change. Okay, this is an effective way. So for me, I'm an academic, so I actually have to submit my journal articles. So before I actually submit my journal draft, I use this software to detect whether I have actually used any of the sentences or any of the, like just phrases or even the phrases without knowing. So use this software, okay? Okay, let's have a look about the software, whether we can use the software or not, like later. Okay, academic writing and source use.
Good academic writing integrates multiple sources accurately and ethically. Writers must acknowledge each source using citation styles like APA, MLA, or Harvard. Go engage critically with sources, not just avoid plagiarism. Effective writers summarize, explain, and build upon others' ideas with their own analysis.
Right, so last week, we learned different citation styles. They were quite confusing. I think three of you guys were here. So we learned about APA, MLA, and Harvard, and Vancouver, like different styles. Because the ChatGPT and other AI tools can actually make the citation styles if you were to just like type in the indications, so they can just do it automatically. So you don't have to actually know them all. But the reason that we actually went over the rules is for you to acknowledge, what different parts of the citation mean. Whether it means the page number and whether it means the journal article, the name of the journal article, and whether it means the title of the article. So it's important that you can actually read, the APA, Harvard, like Vancouver styles, because they are used a lot. If you were to read academic books or journal articles, these citation styles are used a lot of times, and then in the end note and the footnote and the end note as well. So just try to get familiarize yourself with the different styles, and then afterwards you can actually, when you write your own essay, you can use either of any of the four. There are a lot more different citation styles, but these 3 or 4 styles are the most popular ones. So you can actually use one of these citation styles for your essay. All right, so how to avoid plagiarism.
Plan early and record source details through research. Paraphrase properly, use your own language and structure. Use quotation marks for exact words and include text citations. Provide a full reference list at the end of your work. Seek guidance from tutors if you're unsure about citation rules.
We've actually gone through all the, it's not the rules, but all the steps before, right? So I told you that when you actually read and take notes, even the small even the little sentences or even the small details of what you have read from the book, just write them down, write the reference down, because you actually use those sources later. So even though you're just writing few words or you're writing few phrases from a article, still you have to write down the reference, the exact reference for the phrases or the words that you have written down in your notes, because you will have to use them. So this is very important. So that's why you actually have to plan and read a lot ahead earlier than your writing date. And also, we learned how to paraphrase. I mean, there are different ways to paraphrase. So I think, the more you exercise, the better you actually get in terms of how to paraphrase. And also, we learned, I think it was last week, we learned about in-text citation. So if you want to give authority or credibility to your argument, one of the effective ways is to do the in-text citation. You do the quotation marks, right? You directly borrow, you directly just write down what you have read from the other book or the journal article, and you actually directly write them down in your essay using the quotation marks. And that actually gives the credibility and authority to your argument. So this we've done as well. And we also learned how to make a full reference list at the end using the different citation styles. And if you're unsure, you always ask your professors or any of your colleagues before you hand in your essay. All right, discussion and exercises. So what are the questions that we have to discuss?
Why is plagiarism considered an academic crime rather than a simple mistake? What strategies help balance using sources and expressing original ideas? How can donating and similar tools promote ethical writing habits? How does plagiarism harm both individuals and the academic community? What effective ways to teach citation and academic integrity?
Right, so we'll have a discussion on these questions for 3 minutes together. So you guys, Irina, would you like to sit with them so you can have a discussion with them? And so let's have discussion. That's one. Whomever you prefer to have discussion with. So let's have discussion on these questions for 3 minutes, and let's go into turn it in, and see whether we can use the tool for our plagiarism detection. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's have a look. Chingies. Second, cutting and pasting a short article from a website with no citation.
Yes.
For sure, even though it's an online source, you always have to add the citation. So we learned how to make a citation for online sources, right? And 3, taking 2 paragraphs from a classmate's essay without citation. Yes or no? Yes. Even it's your friends, still you have to cite. 4, taking a graph from a textbook, giving the source. Yes or no? No, yeah, because you actually gave the source. 5th, taking a quotation from an article, giving a citation, but not using quotation marks. Yes. So if you want to directly quote, then you always have to add quotation marks. Okay? This is important. If you were to paraphrase, you don't have to add the quotation mark. But if you want to use exact words, then you have to use quotation marks. 6th, using something that you think of as general knowledge. For example, the Earth's climate is getting warmer.
No.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So, like, if you were to just, if it's a common sense or general knowledge, then you don't have to do it. 7th, using a paragraph from an essay you wrote and had marked the previous semester without citation. Yes or no? Yes. Yeah, this is still a plagiarism because it's from a previous essay you wrote. Okay. 8th, using the result of your own unpublished research, for example, from a survey you did without citation. Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes. No. All right, because you actually are using your own, but the caveat is unpublished. It's not published yet. So it doesn't have a formal citation. So in this case, you can just refer to your own data without citation. 8th, is it 8th? 9th, discussing an essay topic with a group of classmates and using some of their ideas in your own work. Yes or no?
No.
You can be yes or no. Both are okay. Yeah. For me, I think it's no. because it's a verbal communication. If it's like sort of written communication, then I think you have to cite. But if it's a verbal communication, then you don't. It's not considered plagiarism, but it can be yes or no. 10th, giving us citation for some information but misspelling the author's name. Yes, it's plagiarism. So if you miscite, then it actually becomes plagiarism. So don't make a mistake. Do the exact citation. All right, let's go over to the next slide. Avoiding plagiarism by summarizing and paraphrasing.
Quotations should be used sparingly. Over using direct quotes can make your version look like a collection of other people's ideas rather than your own. To integrate other writers' ideas effectively, learn to paraphrase, restate in your own words, and summarize, condense the main points. Paraphrasing shows that you have fully understood the meaning of a source and can express it accurately in your own style. Summarizing demonstrates your ability to identify the key ideas and omit unnecessary details. Using these techniques proves your understanding and engagement with the materials rather than the simple dictation.
Yeah, so you can use the direct quotation with the quotation marks to add the credibility and authority to your writing, but don't overuse direct quotes. If you use it too often, if you use them too often, then it looks like a collection of like different works. It doesn't look like an essay, right? So only a few times you use direct quotes, okay? To emphasize that this is an important point that you are trying to make, okay? But don't overuse them. So we've actually learned how to paraphrase and how to summarize in the other sessions, and then the exercise that we did were to actually make an argument, without using the plagiarism. So what we're going through in this class is basically to help you to make a good argument, to write a good essay with a good argument. And for that, you basically have to learn how to read and then how to take notes. And in the note taking, you basically have to do a very minute, detailed citations of all the works that you read, and you actually summarize and you paraphrase the points that you deem necessary. Oh, there's a necessary parts here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, unnecessary details. When you actually say unnecessary, it's very subjective. So it's unnecessary details for your essay. So for some details, they can be understood as very necessary for other person's writing or argument. But if you think some of the details which the author thinks is very important are unnecessary for the build-up of the argument, then it is unnecessary. So it's very subjective whether you actually think of certain parts or certain books or sources or phrases or sentences as necessary or not. It's up to you and your writing. Okay, up to your argument. How you build up your argument. Okay, so let's do some exercise on page 80. Okay, so there's a paragraph on railway manias, and there are A, B, C, D. They basically made a summary. All right, and decide whether it's a plagiarism or not. Okay, decide whether A, B, C, or D is a plagiarism or not, or acceptable. Okay, and if it's acceptable, then please write down why you think it's acceptable or why you think it's plagiarism. Okay. Okay, wake up. All right, number A. Is it a plagiarism or not? No, because it referenced Hobsbawm, 1995, page 45 very accurately, and it did an excellent paraphrase. Do you know who Hobsbawm is? Hobsbawm is a very famous British historian. He has written a lot of books on world history. He's very famous. Number 2, is it a plagiarism or not?
Yes.
Yes, why?
Some sentences are directly copied from.
Very good. Yeah, very good. C, is it a plagiarism or not?
No.
No.
It's not plagiarism.
It's not plagiarism because it actually made the incitation very clearly. Hobsbawm, 1995, argues, and at the end, I mean, it has a direct quotation, right? So, because in fact, blah blah blah, 3.7%. So this is a direct a quote, and afterwards, it actually added the specific in-text citation, including the page number 45. So it's an excellent case of in-text citation. D, is it a plagiarism or not?
No.
Why not?
Paraphrase.
Properly paraphrase the information.
There is no copy
Huh? Louder! Is it plagiarism or not?
It looks like more conclusion for the.
All right. Okay. So it did the paraphrase, which yeah, and then right. I think it did paraphrase, but then there is something wrong here. What's wrong? In-text citation at the end.
Yeah. 1890.
Exactly. The publication date is wrong. So if you make a mistake, then it becomes a plagiarism. All right? So this is a case of plagiarism. Okay, let's go. This is the last slide for plagiarism. Okay.
Avoid plagiarism by developing good study habits. Most students do not intend to plagiarize, but poor study habits can increase the risk. Developing effective and ethical study routines helps ensure originality and integrity in your work. Positive study habits to prevent plagiarism. Plan your work early, avoid last-minute rushing that led to careless copying. Take notes in your own words, never copy directly from a source. Keep full source records, note author, title, dates, page numbers, and publisher for every reference. Cite visuals properly. Charts, graphs, and tables are also required acknowledgement. Acknowledge sources in presentations. Make it clear when quoting or paraphrasing others. Good study habits, good academic integrity.
Right. So this is very important. When you make a note, it's very important that you actually record the full reference list for the sources that you cite, right? Make sure that you include the author's name, the title of the book or the article, the date of publication, page numbers, and the name of the publisher. All right. So make sure that you include all the details. All right. And if you want to make a direct quote, then you have to insert the page number. So when you make a direct quote, you insert the quotation marks and then page number followed by it. Okay. So you really have to make sure where the direct quote comes from. So make sure that you put the page number when you make a note. Okay. And also, when you use charts, graphs, or tables, you actually insert what you have read from the other sources in your writing. You have to put citations for the charts, graphs, and tables also. Not only the writing, but charts, graphs, and tables also as well. This is important. And this applies when you make a presentation as well. Okay? When you do the PPT, when you make a presentation and do the when you make a PPT and do the presentation, you actually use a lot of tables, right? And figures and graphs. In that case, you have to make a citation as well. Okay? It makes your presentation very trustworthy, credible. So this is a good tip. Okay? All right. So this is gonna be the last exercise for the plagiarism. If you go on to page 81, it lists positive study habits to avoid plagiarism. So in addition to 5 points, think about positive study habits for avoiding plagiarism.
Use online tools. Online tools.
Louder?
Online tools.
Online sources?
Mm.
Maybe I have a problem with It's the heating. Here you are.
Online tools.
Online
Using
tools.
online
Okay, using
tools.
online tools. Sorry. All right. What else? Bar? Any study habit to help out?
Like using online sources like YouTube videos.
You already know that is that stuff. Another one.
She said online tools,
Online tools, online sources for?
AI tools.
Okay, similar. Any other?
There is no other.
Joy? No? Alright.
Change vocabulary and sentence structure.
Very good. Yeah, change the sentence. When we did the paraphrasing, we learned, to change the sentence structures as well as the word class, right? We change the noun into verb and like adjective to adverbs and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Add citations to the summary and quotation below. How can you add citation to the summary? Joy? Yeah, so after this, in summary, after Kaufman, you insert 2017 with the brackets. Okay? Yeah, and the quotations, you insert Kaufman, comma, 2017, colon 3, with the brackets at the end. Right? So this is how you do the quotations in text citation. Okay, so let's have a 10 minutes break and we're going to giving examples. Alright, so we only have 2 slides to go. Giving examples in academic writing. Who's next?
Effective writers use examples to strengthen arguments and clarify ideas. Examples provide evidence, make concepts clearer, and increase capability. Good examples are relevant, specific, and linked to the argument. Writers can produce examples with phrases such as "for instance" or "one example of this is."
Right, because basically a lot of academic writing that you engage with is an argumentative one. So, in order to provide a persuasive argument, you have to give a lot of examples for evidence. So that's why we need to have some practices in terms of how to give examples in your essay properly. All right, so how can we introduce examples?
General statements introduce a topic but can sound too abstract or theoretical. Example: many plants and animals are threatened by global warming. Adding a specific example makes the idea concrete and easier to understand. Example: many plants and animals are threatened by global warming. Polar bears, for example, are suffering from the lack of Arctic ice. Examples make academic writing clearer, stronger, and more persuasive. Without example, the overuse of antibiotics has had serious negative consequences. With example, the overuse of antibiotics has had serious negative consequences. Hospital-acquired infections such as MRSA have become more difficult to treat, resulting in many deaths. Examples can also support and illustrate an argument by connecting it to familiar context. Example: in international relations, popular culture is often used as a classroom resource. George Orwell's 1984 has once served as a metaphor for dystopia world. Effective academic writing uses examples to explain, illustrate, and persuade.
Yeah, so a lot of times you actually do the readings to find suitable examples for your writing, right? So when you actually read, you actually have a topic in mind, about why you have to read, some of the things that, in the reading list, or you go to the library and find out the suitable sources that you can read. And when you make notes, you write down the examples given in those sources for your argument. So we make a reference to like various examples, because sometimes like different sources give different examples for a topic. Say you're writing about climate change, and different sources have like vastly different examples to support their arguments. So and that's why you can actually have a very wide perspective if you read more and more, because they give you like different examples. So actually, I really think for academic writing, like giving examples, finding suitable examples for your argument building, and also presenting nicely of those examples is like more than half of the work done. Okay, it's better to actually do than actually say. So let's do the examples, the exercises together. Let's go to page 82. And it has read it at the bottom. It says read the following text and note the way the examples are used. Underline the examples. So you read the paragraph here, and then you underline the examples here.